podcast. We got a full house tonight. Let me pass it to my co-host, Jamie Progue. What's going on, Jamie? What you got?
I want to welcome a special guest tonight, JT Brew, where the tackles turn the takes and sacks turn the stats, breaking down defensive dogs before the rest even sniff them. Ooh. Let's grab a cold one and introduce our man, JT Brew. What's up? Let's go for the fantasy win.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Pumped to be on the show with both you guys.
Tell us, what you've been doing. I know you're busy in the off season, during the season. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so if you're looking for me during season, podcast Fantasy and Frames is the best place to find me. I do Dynasty 365 once a month there. We do Shoot the Gap, which is our IDP show with Jorge Edwards, and Steve is the IDP owners helped out this year, jumped on the show with us. It's been fantastic season so far, having extra guys on the show. So that's where you can find me.
Podcast on the internet.
And that's where you can find me most of the times during the year. Also, I do a Dynasty Evaluation podcast with my buddy John McGlynn. That's his show. I co-host with him. When we get that one's not as consistent because it depends on the schedule. His schedule is pretty crazy. So it depends on when he can do it. I'll jump on and do that show. And then I guest on a lot of other podcasts. I got some guys over at the Devi Planet. I've been doing some Saturday morning Devi shows with them talking college football because I'm a big college football guy as well. So I jump in and been doing shows on Saturday mornings with them. If you're looking into my rankings and writing content, rankings during the year, I do top 150 IDP rankings on DLF, Dynasty League Football. And I also do top 75 Devi players there as well. So my rankings there. And then the off season, I write a ton of stuff in the off season. I do some in-season content, but mostly off season. I do a ton of draft stuff over at DLF. Usually I write the running back profiles where I basically break down all the running backs. I rank the class, rank guys where I think they're going to be taken. And then once the draft happens, I re-rank them and kind of where their landing spots are, all that stuff. And then I just do a bunch of player profiles, a bunch of IDP profiles and things like that. So always heavy writing in the off season.
You mentioned your work at DLF. I just have one question for DFL, the Dynasty League football thing. What is it that you do over here exactly, and what can people expect if they get a subscription?
Yeah, so if you get a subscription DLF, we do a ton of stuff. They've got a trade calculator, cornerstone rankings, dynasty rankings, IDP rankings, every positional breakdown overall. They do rookie profiles in the offseason leading up to the draft. We do mock drafts. Like earlier this year, I wrote a one-round mock draft for the 2026 draft. Not a full mock, but a mock for fantasy football. So
a lot of us out there, we play in deeper leagues. We play in combo leagues. We play in offense and defense. And I think that DLF, that's a really neat tool to have. So that's why I was asking exactly what you do. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you guys. This is a bit of a frustration. Everybody talked about the bye-week apocalypse, but what did that mean? A lot of my IR stashes, they came off injury report, and then I was stuck, and all my teams were overdue. Every damn day last week, I had to take somebody out of IR and drop some. It was so frustrating last week. I was so ticked off. We had a handful of players on offense, didn't we? We had a handful, didn't we, Jamie? And then we had the A.J. Browns. You had all these people just losing the thread. It was almost like, remember the old cartoon, Bizarro World? Superman, Bizarro World? It was the exact opposite. You had all the underdogs winning last week. The favorites were hanging on by a thread. So I'm so glad to have you on this show with Jamie to talk about these quarterbacks and to put it all together.
Yeah, it was a crazy week last week. If you're in a league and you're in a bunch of leagues, I tell you what, I felt like I set my lineups in my leagues like 5 or 6 times in each league last week because I kept having to go the same thing, pull guys on, push guys off, going like, oh, I'm over the limit. Is my league? Can I actually play? Because some leagues, if you're over the limit, they won't count your points. So you figure out how to get them all out and find somebody to replace them.
So you know me with the bye-week apocalypse. I'm in 30 dynasty leagues. I have Gaston and Rondé Gaston and 18 of them. So I actually went through and I had to take him off of my taxi squad because, I got him in the late 4th.
Frustrating.
Waivers for free. So I'm like, this guy's just throwing up points. I need to put him in my lineup. So, yeah, I had to go through lineups and actually make room for him off my taxi squad to start him in my lineups. And
there was like 3 leagues I should have. I've been holding him on taxi, knowing that he's blowing up. And Jamie, we've talked about this for people that don't know me. I love Aronde Gatson. I've been singing his praises since way before the draft last year. He was like my favorite underdog sleeper tight end. I absolutely loved him.
I want to give props to JT because he is the reason I have Gaston on 18 of my dynasty leagues.
For real.
I listen to him all off season, every episode. I'm in your chats. And I just kept hearing your praises on him. He's a wide receiver, dressed as a tight end. Now he's connected to Herbert.
You mentioned him a lot, too. That's what's funny. So you stole him from JT. That's what you're confessing to us on Live.
So thank you, JT, for giving me my fantasy gold.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, all of a sudden he's been blown up and everybody's talking about trading. I'm like, I had one team. I just snuck it out by like literally full IDP team. And I ended up playing Otten last week and I had Gadsden on my taxi. And I was like, but I got a really deep. I didn't want to drop somebody because I got some injuries and stuff. And we can't move guys to taxi once they're off. It's like over. So we just lose a spot. So I was like, I don't know if I want to pull them off taxi just yet. I didn't. And it almost cost me the week. I won by half a point, like sickening. Won by half a point, just barely pulled it out with 3 IDP guys going on Monday Night Football. But yeah, Gasson has been one of my favorite stories. I hope he keeps it up. I just love what he's done. And I've got him in basically every league that I can have him in, other than a couple leagues where I either didn't have a late pick, so I couldn't get him where I wanted him, or somebody sniped me because they knew I loved him, so they took him right before I could get him.
Jamie, you got questions rolling in the chat already.
We haven't even got into our streamers yet, but I guess we could hop into it. Let's ask this question.
Yeah, Handy Cross 4759. He wants to know what's good, a healthy Brock Purdy or Jared Goff. And then while we were yakking, Level Up Laura answered. He said Purdy, I think, is Kirk Cousins or Cousins still playing. So I guess
it's got to be Purdy. Purdy's going against the Giants. Giants are unreliable. You got to play your quarterbacks versus the Giants. I have a healthy Purdy in my top 12 this week. Goff, Minnesota, I'd have to put him around 15. So if you were going to go one or the other, definitely go Purdy. There's 4 quarterbacks. A lot of people already have Goff or Purdy on their team. So what if you don't? What if you need a streamer? Some people play in single quarterback leagues. So I would look on the waivers to go get Aaron Rodgers. He's been hot in fantasy, even with the Steelers losing like 2 straight games. Now he's facing a Colts defense that allows 300 plus passing yards to quarterbacks. So fire up Aaron Rodgers. Then you got a Sam Darnold. Darnold, he's been a solid streamer the past few weeks. I've mentioned him on this show multiple times. Seattle, they're rolling, man. Rolling. Darnold's clicking with JSN, who leads the league in receiving yards. And they're going against a weak Commanders pass defense. So that he should stay hot. Now, here's a little bit tricky. Kyler Murray is a sneaky streaming option this week if he plays. Man, like he was hurt. Now he was on a bye. Like he was dropped in a lot of leagues after that injury. He's going against the Cowboys, the league's worst fantasy defense for quarterbacks. So this is a perfect bounce back spot. But then you got Jacoby Brissett. You got to watch unless Kyler Murray returns. Like Brissett has almost 600 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 starts. Like whoever,
Jamie, if you were to backpedal on your Murray take, Asa Chase is in the chat. He asked, would you rather Rodgers, Ward, or Murray? Do you have a preference, a pecking order for those guys?
It's definitely not Ward. You don't want to play a Titan. But no, I'm going Rodgers for the safety net.
The only time Ward would be over Murray is in this chat or in that stupid game when he pulled the upset.
I think you got to go Rodgers because here's the problem. Murray is you only can wait on Murray if you have another option to play a guy, because the problem with Murray is he's going Monday night. If there's a setback, something happens, if you don't have Brissett sitting on your bench, you just get stuck with Murray and he ends up not playing or getting hurt early or in trouble. I would go Rodgers for that reason.
Yes.
Even though the Colts defense is playing really well, the Colts defense has been good, but it's been overshadowed because the Colts offense has been playing amazing. No, he's got Fields and Hurts on a bye. Which QB does you want to gamble to pick up? Mariota, Brissett, or Browning? Who do you think's the most likely to possibly get a start or play this week? For me, I'm kind of leaning Brissett because I think he could have a huge game if he plays. And if Kyler Murray gets hurt again, but that would just be my personal opinion if I'm taking a shot on a guy.
It's for me. It's Brissett, 100%. Give him your award. It's Kobe Brissett award.
Heck yeah!
But all three of those, they're risky, man. Because how do you know if they're going to even play?
Yeah, my guess is he doesn't have a QB going. He's going to pick up a guy and throw him in and hope he gets him some points. Somebody gets hurt or they'll play. Which I will have to be honest with you. I'm in some leagues like that these last 2 weeks where I'm literally guessing backups and going, oh, if somebody gets hurt with this guy, get me a couple points. I've been in the same boat. I think I started Jameis Winston in a league last week in a super flex, if that tells you where I'm at in some of my leagues.
Well, let's move on to the IDP.
Okay, talk about defensive line, and again, we're trying to go a little quicker and everything, right? So, defensive tackles, you're kind of dry. I'm looking for guys like Darren Payne, Jalen Redmond, Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis. Those are usually my solid guys. There is one guy that emerged, Brian Murphy of the Seahawks. I'll play him as a DL on Sleeper. I'll play him as a defensive end too, anywhere. Just check his stats out. Now, going to our usual leagues, our Sleeper basic combo formats, from shallow working our way up, we're going to talk about – we've already talked about on other shows, JT, so I'm kind of trying to pull them together. Jalen Phillips, only owned in 26% of leagues. Some people can still pick him up. He's doing good. Nwosu's doing good. Leonard Williams is doing good. We talked about Kayvon Chaison's stats last week. There's a new guy I want to talk about, Jacob Martin of the Commanders. He's going in. He's going in because of that injury that just happened to Dorrance Armstrong. They got that 3-4. I think they're going to switch to a 3-4 look with Darren Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Eddie Goodman, a little bit of Newton rotating in. But still, Jacob Martin's probably going to play from the outside linebacker spot, and that's a cheat code for you. We got Chase Young. Chase Young is somebody you can pick up anywhere. You can pick him up anywhere. And the reason I pulled his stuff on screen, he's got games against the Panthers. After the bye week, he's got Atlanta, Miami, Carolina, the Jets, Tennessee, Atlanta. He's got 7 of the next 9 weeks of nothingness that he could attack. If you look at his stats, JT, this is the one I wanted to focus on. If you look at his stats, 55% stats, 68% stats, 62%. He's growing each week, and he just gave us a good sack. So 2 sacks last 3 games. I'm liking Chase Young. I'm liking the Renaissance. And I'll kick it back to you, my friend. I got all of them out of my mid category. I got a couple deeper ones. I've said them on other shows. I've said the guys like James Houston. I've said the guys like Alex Wright. But that's my category for defensive linemen. I know we go a little deeper. We talk about them. I'm going to throw it back to you, JT. Out of all of those guys I just said, maybe you have other ones. Who else do you like, my friend?
So with the mess that's kind of happening in Washington, I really like Johnny Newton. I think that he really does bring a strong pass rush presence. So if they kind of switch to a 3-4, I could see him sliding outside and playing more of a little D end for them as opposed to D tackle. So I do like Johnny Newton. He's got a really good pass rush, got a great sack on Monday night, of course. Got called for the BS, threw the quarterback on the ground and got a penalty on Mahomes right at the end of the play. But he's a guy I would keep an eye out. Young guy, good pass rusher from the inside. So that's probably the one guy that I would jump in. Chase Young, I think you're spot on. if he's still out there, because again, you're going to have so many people that are just going to hate Chase Young for the fact that they took Chase Young high in IDP drafts like a couple years ago. They're still mad about it. He's a guy that's probably out there. So I like where your head's at on that one as well. So those are probably the two guys I would most likely jump on if I had a shot. Those are deeper guys. And like you said, Phillips, I do like Phillips as a chance to get in there playing opposite Bradley Chubb.
And that's all we got for defensive linemen. It's a deep crew and everything. We're going to kick it right back to Jamie. We're going to talk about – he usually goes running backs next.
Yeah, so let's jump into the running backs. Bam Knight, he's only averaging 3.5 yards a carry. Not good. But start him anyway because Dallas gives up 400-plus yards a game, and they can't stop the run. Next, I'm going R.J. Harvey, still behind J.K. Dobbins. Harvey flashed in week 8 with 51 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 touches. That screams upside. So given Dobbins' injury history, a bigger role could be coming soon. So for now, he's a viable RB3 flex play option. Go get him. Tyler Algier, another one. Algier, definitely Bijan's clear backup, but he continues to produce. He scored 3 of his last 4 games, a touchdown. He's a solid flex option and could jump into that top 20 range if Bijan misses some time. Next, I'm going to go after Brayshaw Tootin. The Jags.
There you go.
He is the Jags. Clear number 2 back. Elite. He is elite. As soon as Bigsby got traded, and then ETN definitely holding down that starter spot, but his role could expand, and he flashed in limited touches, making him a volatile flex option. But one injury away, he could be a fantasy starter. And Bigsby is another one. Bigsby is a handcuff to Barkley. Barkley dealing with the groin injury. Bigsby showed the upside in week 8 and is worth stashing if you have that roster space. Lastly, again, I'm going to mention him, Jaden Blue, the number 2 in Dallas with big upside. If Javonte Williams misses time, Blue could be a league-winning lottery ticket. JT, what do you think?
I like where your head's at on those guys. I think it's a really good pick. The real ones out here, 1986, Ollie Gordon playable over Algier Tootin. I actually like Ollie Gordon. 10 carries last week. I think there's a chance, especially if you're in a non-PPR or a half PPR league. I like Gordon. He's going to get a shot to possibly get a TD. And what Jamie said, it could be a pretty high-scoring game this week between the Dolphins and Ravens. So I'm probably going Gordon first, then Algier. Algier, we always talk about with him. You just never know what's going to happen with B-Rob. If he's in there, it's great. Algier's been better lately, but he got a touchdown 3 out of the last 4 weeks, but he's only had 8 carries combined the last 2 weeks. So, and that's going to be a tougher matchup against the Patriots, I think. So if I had to lean here, I would lean Gordon, then Algier, especially in TD leagues. Tootin gets a slight up advantage in a PPR league just because he's going to have a chance to get a little bit third down play. But you got to remember, LaQuinn Allen is getting in there a little bit for the Jags on third downs. So if it was me, I would go Gordon. And then my one guy, if you picked him up, but you didn't play him last week like I did in a couple leagues and then really kicked myself, Kamani Vidal for the Chargers. He's a guy, I think he's got a fantastic matchup this week. If he's going to roll, I think it's 2 weeks in a row as they're going to the Titans. I think he's going to run the ball a lot. So Vidal, if you picked him up, you didn't play him, he is I think almost a must start in your lineup this week. I've got him playing in a bunch of flex spots over pretty high-end wide receivers because I got a couple teams loaded at RB, but I want to get him in the lineup. So I think he's definitely an RB2 flex play this week for sure.
So, JT, I didn't include Vidal on this list because I've been talking about him the last, 3 weeks on this episode. So everyone listening already
you were telling
on their
everybody,
team.
right? You were telling people in advance to get on it, and
Yes.
hopefully they listen to you.
And that's what we're doing with these streamers and stashes. So let's move on to the IDP. What do you got, Steve?
Yeah, so for linebacker, it's kind of repetitive list. You know the list. We got guys like Tatum Bethune, guys like Barrett Carter, guys like Cedric Gray. If you don't know who they are by now, what are you doing out there? You can go super deep at linebacker this time of year. JT knows because people get hurt. You want to go a little deeper in the leagues. You got guys like Drake Thomas, DeMarvio, and Overshown should make a point soon. Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is slowly getting his snaps back. So most of these names you guys already know. I'm going to focus in on 3 players that you guys may or may not know. Before I do that, Epic had a question in the chat about defensive linemen. I didn't see it. Chase Young, Sweat, Granderson, Jacob Martin, Leonard Williams, Sack. I'm gonna go Leonard Williams there. The reason I'm not gonna say your typical answer with Granderson, I'm actually got him as a sit. I put him in the sit start category for the Fantasy and Frames podcast that airs tomorrow. He started off hot with 4.5 sacks in 4 games. Now he's at 0 in the last 4. He's getting a snap count reduction. So look for that. Jorge's going to put that out. But, yeah, I'm not touching Granderson right now. You have the same thoughts, JT?
Yeah, it's tough to kind of bail on Granderson, but Chase Young has been so tough. And Leonard Williams, he says pick 2 to keep. I'm probably going Young because, every point you just said, we're starting to see the Chase Young we thought we were getting when he was a top 10 pick. He's playing well. He's playing for big money. So I like Chase Young right now, and I like Leonard Williams. If I had to start 2, I'm starting those 2 guys. He said keep 2. I'm hoping he meant just pick 2 to play and not like we're cutting all these guys, but because Granderson would be a tough cut.
Yeah, it really would. So I'm only going to center in on 3 linebackers here. The first one here is old Eric Wilson of the Vikings. He's actually the play. A lot of people were cutting him. Did you see that like 2 games ago? A lot of people were cutting him for Ivan Pace. I don't know what they were thinking because this is the guy who's been getting all the numbers, especially when Cashman they're still nursing him a little bit. But if you look at the last 4 out of 5 weeks, because he had a bye, he had 100% 9 tackles, 100% 9 tackles. Cashman returns, dips a little bit. He's still playing over 2 downs, 84% 6 tackles, 82% 9 tackles. This is still a guy that you can play and be okay with it because there's no reason not to if he's getting the snaps. You know what I know in IDP, volume is everything. Volume is everything. So I like Eric Wilson here. I'm going to do 2 more, and then I'll throw it back here. So when you look at another guy I'm kind of curious about, Elandon Roberts. Elandon Roberts before the bye week, got 93% snaps, 18 tackles, and 70 box snaps. Let me say it again. Landon Roberts, 18 tackles, 70 box snaps out of nowhere. That's the way they're going to use this guy in the middle, swat to tackle, look ball, chase ball. He's got matchups coming up against the Jaguars and the Broncos. I'm kind of excited about that. And then the last one I kind of want to sit and highlight, Christian Rosenboom. You guys see what happened last week with Christian with Trevin Wallace. He ended up being the green dot. He ended up getting hurt. Rosenboom went right back in there. And something that's neat about Rosenboom's production, something that's neat about him is it hasn't really changed since he hasn't been the green dot. He's been from week 5, 9 tackles, week 6, 6 tackles, week 7, 7 tackles, week 8, 9 tackles. He's still there grown. These are all casual guys you can get by in middle leagues. I would probably put Wilson in a shallower one with multiple flexes. That's how high I am on a lot of these guys. Then some flyers for you, JT, and I guess we can kick it back and forth. Was that guy at the Browns, Mohamed Diabate, whatever how you say his name?
I always butcher his name, yeah.
Yeah. If dude's hurt, he's probably the next man up there. We always mentioned JT Bernard before. We mentioned guys like what was his name? Shamar James of the Cowboys. He didn't have a good game. So Savorsy Dennis should already be owned. I don't know what they're doing. And then the new one this week, my favorite one, is the Winters got hurt. Check the depth chart, check the injury report, and see if he's still hurt. Because if not, there's a third string linebacker. It's not Nick Martin. It's Curtis Robinson. How's that for a deep cut? Curtis Robinson, undrafted rookie a couple years ago, I think 2021. Curtis Robinson. He's just going to go in there and log points. For linebacker, for me, volume's king. That's why we have so many. JT, any thoughts on those guys?
Yeah, I like where your head's at. Roseboom has been a guy that's sitting on a lot of my roster, or a lot of my lineups that I haven't been playing because I was just inconsistent, not sure what's going on. But he's starting to lean back into like, oh, he could be my LB3 or my LB4 from week to week. So I like where your head's at there. A guy that is consistently the snaps have been there. He hasn't always gotten the production, but I really like where he's at is Cedric Gray. I think, again, a team that's going to be losing a lot of times like Tennessee is, and he's going to get a lot of snaps. The teams are going to run the ball. I like Cedric Gray a lot, so he's been moving up my list of playable guys. I think you got to have him in your lineup. Nakobe Dean, I thought was a great point by you, is if you've been sitting there waiting because the injury, you're just like not comfortable playing him, which I have him on quite a few teams, and I've yet to start him. I am now starting to feel comfortable, like I think I can get Dean back in that lineup. And I feel like I'm going to get some production. Earlier, I felt like I'm really just, throwing the dart with my eyes closed, hoping he plays well and gets a lot of snaps. I feel like he's worked his way back in. I feel confident saying you can play Dean again. So I'm with you on those. I definitely the Panthers situation at linebacker, I think, is definitely something you got to keep your eye on. And I also think early in the week, especially if you are short on linebackers, the Ravens linebacker situation you need to keep an eye on. Is it going to be Simpson? Is it going to be the rookie Teddy Buchanan? Those guys coming back, keep getting hurt. Roquan's back from injury, so that's definitely a situation I want to kind of keep my eyes on. And then, like you said, Dennis, people have been in and out of him all year. He's been in and out of my starting lineup all year. I think he's getting more consistent where you got it. If you're in a big IDP league where you're starting 3, 4, 5 linebackers, he's got to be in that mix, I think.
Gotcha. That's it. That's all I got. Let's kick it to Jamie. Let's get these wide receivers knocked out.
Yeah, so I wanted to start with, this is a good transition. Travis Hunter, an IDP guy, right? No, he's exploding on offense in week 7. Dude had over 100 yards. He had a touchdown on 8 catches. Brian Thomas, he's dealing with a shoulder injury, right? So Hunter should see a full workload on offense like he has been. He's been playing more snaps on offense. Raiders are one of the league's worst defenses against wide receivers. So if he's on your team, he should be in your lineup because Hunter is playing 40% of his snaps in the slot, and Vegas is allowing over 17 fantasy points to the slot receivers, plus add the outsides. But then you got to go Rashad Bateman. The Ravens, they finally got a win in week 8, and Lamar is going to return in week 9 against Miami. The Dolphins give up the second most points per game to receivers. Jackson comes back. He's going to drop it like it's hot. And he's going to spread that ball around. And Bateman is set for one of his best games of this season. I'm digging deep here. People seem to like this Shamir DK Dyke. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it looks like Dyke, but it's DK. It's DK, weird. It's okay. Almost like you're saying DK Metcalf. It's weird. It's weird how it's spelled, but it's so DK. I'm like it's like you're saying DK Metcalf.
I'm gonna keep calling him Dyke. So Dyke is low owned. He's the slot receiver for the Titans. He had 11 catches, 160 plus yards, and a touchdown his last 2 games. That's a strong floor, even if Ridley returns that doesn't play the same position as him. Then I'm going to go Christian Watson, boom or bust, big play upside. He had 85 yards, 4 catches last week. He faces the Panthers this week, and that's a huge, strong matchup for Christian Watson. Finally, I'm going to go Malik Washington. Man, he's that wide receiver on the Dolphins you need to watch. Like, since Tyreek Hill left, he doubled the targets of the other guys, Westbrook Akine, and I don't even know the other guy, Estridge. Whoever they are.
Estridge, who might be a little banged up after last week.
But they're making him that wide receiver to really watch, and it's the only wide receiver that actually matters behind Waddle. So go pick him up and start him confidently against the Ravens.
I love where your head's at with Hunter. That's why I'm loading up on Tilo and Hunter, especially if you're like in a DFS league where you can put those guys together. I love that. I'm putting them in quite a few lineups together. Lollygagger 1984 says Lane or Downs. As you can see by my cup here, I am a Colts guy. I'm a Downs guy. I think you got to play Downs. He's working his way in here. I know it's hard because you're like, oh, they got JT. They're throwing to Pittman. They got Warren. I still think Downs is going to get in the mix here, and I like him over Lane, even though they did come out and say that there was no Terry McLaurin this week. He is out again, so brutally bad. Gets you one game and then gone. But I like Downs better there. And then it looks like there's a tight end question. We'll wait for the tight ends.
We'll get it later. Yep.
Okay, so for Downs, are you looking to get 10 points? Yes, go Downs, because the slot receiver only gets about 10 points versus the Steelers, right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, 12 points. They allow 12 points.
Yeah,
but
so it'll be interesting.
Tons.
They've been running a lot of deeper. Teams have been running a lot of deeper routes, and the underneath stuff's been wide open against the Steelers. And if anybody's going to take advantage of that, it's Josh Downs. He is the underneath guy for this Colts team. I really, honestly, if the Steelers don't change something they're doing, I could see Downs exploding in this game. Now, not for a ton of yards, but if you're in a PPR league, I think Downs could easily get like 8 catches for like 65, 70 yards and maybe steal a touchdown, just because the Steelers have been so bad about letting the underneath routes go. And Downs is really kind of their underneath guy with Warren. Pittman's their middle, the deep guy. And then obviously Alec Pierce is nothing but deep. So that's where I think Downs is a sneaky flex play this week.
Well, Downs your safer play, and he's your upside play because, like you said, he could get that 7, 8 catches, but I only think he's going to get 5, 6, but that's still 60 yards. That's 12 points right there.
I think he could. I'd be shocked if he doesn't score double-digit points this week.
Yeah, it's going to be 10 to 12 points. All right, let's move on. What do you guys have for your final IDP?
Okay, great. Defensive backs. I only got 6 names. Jamie, if you can stay with me, because I actually have trying to have a legitimate conversation with you. If you could just give me some feedback, same thing with you, JT. 6 names, and I'll be off here. First thing I want to talk about, we've talked about so many defensive backs on the show. I'm not going through them all. You're welcome to go back on those shows. I'm not. There's 6 situations I'm very excited about. First one, Harrison Smith's a name again, guys. I know it doesn't sound sexy. You don't want to hear it. But Harrison Smith won his job back over Theo Jackson. He's an every down presence right now. Look it up. 82% snaps, 9 tackles, 13 in the box, 14 rotating deep. That's fine for deep shows like this. I can play a guy like that. Harrison Smith. You're not going to hear that in any other show. Jonas Sanker. Keep an eye on that name. Him and Justin Reed have been getting equal shares. Well, this week it changed. He got 17 box. Reed only got 16. Why is that significant? It's about 20% snap boost. Malik Mustafa, JT knows that name. We've been doing this on all the shows. 100% snaps. He finally popped. Last one I want to say, and then I'll talk about this unique category. Dane Belton. Dane Belton of the Giants, I've been talking on Fantasy and Frames. He's the only one with an actual true box roll. Everybody else is questionable. Now, we just got news. We just got news today, I believe. Kyle Duggar was traded to the Steelers because Deshaun Elliott got hurt. That's going to be an interesting one moving forward. That's going to be very interesting because Kyle Duggar, not very good in coverage, but he's all about it in the box, in the middle there, sucking it down, getting those tackles. Watch for Kyle Duggar as a deep play later on. Right now, for my money, and I'm pretty high on Chuck Clark. I've seen what he has done. Look his numbers up. He's been steady. 6 tackles, 3 tackles, forced fumble. I'm going to say, JT, and I'm going to ask Jamie, I'm going to say Chuck Clark short term, Duggar possibly long term. It's going to take a minute to figure it out. That's the way I got it. I know different sites have it different ways. So my question to both of you, and I'll get off the mic and we'll go to these final categories. Is there anybody I left out? Anybody else you like? Go.
For me, a guy that I think has been sneaky good and he's out there pretty much everywhere is Quan Martin. He doesn't play the box snaps for the Commanders, so people kind of forget about him. A former second-round pick out of Illinois. Monster game on Monday night. Won me at least 2 leagues as he had 14 tackles on Monday night. But he's been solid. He's been in double digits, depending on your scoring, how they score. He's been in double digits for 4 straight weeks. And he looks like he's going to have a consistent role going against Seattle this week, who likes to put up the ball. I like Quan Martin. He, to me, is a sneaky play that is a guy that's probably most likely out there in all your IDP leagues. I doubt anybody has them, but if you're struggling to find guys to play safety with the injuries, with the bye weeks, he's a guy that's a little bit farther down the list that you probably, most people in your league haven't heard of. So he's a sneaky play, a guy I would pick up. And like you said, Steve, with the Steelers, I do think Duggar's going to end up stealing a role there just because Deshaun Elliott really was the playmaker in that secondary. He was playing the line, moving back, doing everything. We know Duggar's not very good in pass coverage, right? We know he's like really bad at pass coverage. But if they want him playing more towards the line and being a press guy and a guy they move around and blitz, I think he wins that job. If they decide they need to play a little more to safety back, that's where I think you're going to see Chuck Clark ends up being the guy that wins the job there.
Oh, I love my tight ends, smacking them. But I want to say, go get Theo Johnson on your roster. Like, tight ends are actually thin this week, but Theo Johnson, his red zone usage makes up, it really does make him a strong play. Like, he's one of the 5 tight ends. Hold on, let me pull this up so I can get it right. So he's one of the 5 tight ends with 9 red zone targets and has 4 touchdowns on the year. So now you look, and Scatabo is injured. That was the guy that was balling on the 5-yard line in the red zone. Now he's out, and he's going against the 49ers, ranking 22nd versus the pass. So Theo Johnson should be a good play this week. I'm going to go with another Johnson. Johnson & Johnson. Let's go Juwan. Juwan Johnson. Tight ends, they really are thin, right? So Juwan has that volume on his side. He's seen 15 targets in 2 games. He got 6 looks from a quarterback, Tyler Shuck, in just 1 quarter last week. So Tyler Shuck's looking at the sky, playing 1 quarter 6 times. Enough said. This guy is going to be fantasy relevant in week 9. Pick him up. Loveland. Coastland Loveland with Komet out. Loveland looks to actually break out. And he broke out a little bit last week. He had 3 catches for 30-plus yards. I mean, it's not sexy, but if Komet misses again, he gets another shot in a juicy matchup versus the Bengals, who gives up the most fantasy points to the tight end position this season. So go grab Loveland and love it. If you want to look at those deeper plays, go after Jatavian Sanders. He returned in week 8, and they played the Bills, who are one of the best defenses against tight ends. But now he's getting Bryce Young back this week. He saw 14 targets in 3 games pre-injury. And with Carolina likely trailing this week, he's going to be a solid stash and a potential streamer if you need him. Also, keep an eye on Gunnar Helm. If the Titans move Chigo Okonkwo at the deadline, Helm could slide right into Cam Ward's starting tight end, and he averaged 4 targets and 7+ PPR points over the last 4 games. So he is showing steady involvement in this offense, and he has that upside if he gets that full-time role.
Nice.
JT.
Jamie, question with that. Would you say Chig is droppable, though?
No, not yet, because we don't know where he's going to go. You don't want to start him, but you also don't want to drop him. Thursday night game with the Ravens and Dolphins, I'm going to go over 50.5 points. Ravens and Dolphins have averaged 52+ points in 5 meetings. So they both have weak defenses and playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. We have Lamar coming back. We have Henry, Fresh, Waddle, and A-Chain. It's set up to be a likely shootout. So take the over 50.5. I'm also going to go Lamar over 35.5 rush yards, because he's averaging 41.5. Now he's fresh. He's so fresh and so clean with that rest. So I also want to do a Lamar first quarter rush prop over 4.5 rush yards. This is insane. He's hit this mark 15 out of 17 games. Here's the kicker. 3 of those were versus Miami. And he thrives in primetime scrambles off of a bye. So go take his first quarter rush, take his overall rush, just take all Lamar rush yards. Then I want to go Devon A-Chain over 60.5 rush yards. He hits that 7 out of his 9 games with 11+ carries. You know he's going to get 11+ carries this game. So he is going to hit 60.5 yards. He thrives at home. 3 straight 70+ yard home games for A-Chain. If you want to boost that 60.5 rush yards to 70, go take the plus. And then finally, Baltimore. They struggle versus speed, and A-Chain has that speed. So they're going to be trailing. They're going to use them all game long. Some touchdowns. Derrick Henry, give me a touchdown. Jayden Waddle, give me a touchdown. Devon A-Chain, give me a touchdown. Finally, let me know what you think about this. For you guys in the IDP world, I'm taking a Van Noy sack at plus 192. Give me that free money. Van Noy sack. JT, drop the mic.
I'm loving where you're coming from. As you're talking about that, I'm building a little same game parlay for Thursday. I got a crazy one for you. Plus 5,000, a 7-pick parlay. Taking Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. Ollie Gordon anytime touchdown. Over 51.5. Malik Washington, 25+ receiving yards. Lamar, 25+ rushing yards. A-Chain, 50+ rushing yards. Jordan Brooks, assists and tackles, 8+ total. Plus 5,000. If you don't want to throw the Ollie Gordon in there, because obviously that to me is the long shot, biggest long shot of that stretch. So say we take out Ollie Gordon, we knock it down to a 6-pick parlay. You're down. It changes it quite a bit. I'm just telling you, it's plus 950 though in a 6-pick. But I think every one of those are super reasonable to hit. I went pretty low on those. You could probably up a few of those from 25 to like 40. And you could pop that up to probably about 1,500, 1,600. I really like that. Like I said, it's plus 950. There is a boost depending on where you, if you're DraftKings or somewhere else. There is a boost to get that up to about 1,300 on that 6-pick parlay. Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown, over 51.5. Malik Washington, 25 yards receiving. Lamar, 25 yards rushing. A-Chain 50 yards rushing, and Jordan Brooks tackles and assists 8+. Right now, that's 950. You throw Ollie Gordon in there, anytime touchdown, jacks that sucker all the way up to plus 5,000.
So what I would do is I would hedge it and play it everything that you said without the Ollie Gordon, and put like maybe two times.
Oh, I love that move.
Do.
Play like 20, play like $25-$50 on the plus 950, and then throw Ollie Gordon in there for like $10.
And then do a separate bet.
Yeah, second one with Ollie Gordon in there for $10 at plus 5,000.
Then also throw in the money line on the Ravens, and
I like that.
See what that boosted up, because the money line on the Ravens is only like plus 4 or minus 300, 400. So if you add it to a parlay like that, it's gonna boost your odds.
If you add money line to the parlay I just told you without Ollie Gordon, add Ravens money line, it knocks it from plus 950 to plus 1,200. Plus the 30% boost. Yes. You can add it, get up to about 1,500. So yeah, I like that. I love Jamie. I love where your head's at there. Throw that in there.
And do another one with that same exact thing you just said. Take Ollie Gordon out for a touchdown, but put A-Chain in for a touchdown.
Absolutely. Because A-Chain's only minus 150. Ollie Gordon right now is plus 425. That's why it just cranks it through the roof. But yes, that one, if you add in what I did, plus say you took out Gordon, you added in Baltimore Ravens money line, and you add A-Chain touchdown, all together, you are looking at plus 1,500. If you add the A-Chain, so it takes it from 950 to 1,200 if you add in the money line, and then if you add in the money line and A-Chain, takes it from 950 to plus 1,500.
Sweet. Epic said fire parlay. Appreciate you. I'm going to leave my comments in the chat because I don't want to go over. With our last minute left on the show, couple things that are exciting. Me and Jamie, we're going to Amsterdam next week, right, Jamie? We're going to Amsterdam. You're getting your friend. You're going to line that up for us. Also, while Jamie's telling you about that, JT and Jamie, tell the audience where they can find you. Go ahead, guys.
JT, tell us.
You can find me at Fantasy and Frames. That's where I'm doing basically all my podcasts. Tuesday night is my hockey podcast, Around the Ice, at 9:30 Eastern time. On Wednesday, we do Dynasty 365, the Dynasty show. That's the early show on the night, as we do shows all night long on Fantasy and Frames on Wednesdays. Steve been jumping in, helping me and Jorge on Shoot the Gap. It's been fantastic. That's at 9 Eastern every week. You guys can go watch Shoot the Gap and then come watch this show right afterwards. I suggest it. It's a great back-to-back. So you can do that, Shoot the Gap on there. And then I jump and guest on a bunch of other podcasts everywhere. But you can find my IDP rankings, my Debbie rankings, and a ton of off-season articles that most of them are all having to do with the draft, upcoming draft, and post-draft articles. I do all that over at DLF.com. So go over there, check out my page there. They're always giving out promos for subscriptions. So go ahead, keep an eye, follow us in there. We're always throwing out promotions where you can get a cheap subscription for the year.
And if you have any start-sit questions going further into the week, join my Going for Two live start-sit show Sunday morning right before the games. I will give you the elite rankings that I put out every week. Definitely check it out. Next week, we have a special guest from across the seas, from Amsterdam, Jeremy Schuler from the FF Universe. Awesome guest. Don't miss it. We're going to be locking it down. Brew, man, you're an IDP genius just like Steve. So I put you both on a pedestal. So stay sharp and go bang.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate having me on. I had a great time.
No problem. This completes the podcast. Talk hard, everybody.